Today, I want to share a little bit about some of the 5 common myths about prenups. Very often, I hear from people that there are many misconceptions around prenups, and I think that although that's not going to change overnight, I want to share a little bit about what some of those are. So, one, often I hear that a prenup is different from a premarital agreement. So, first off, one thing to know is that premarital agreement, prenup, prenuptial agreement, they all mean the same thing. And oftentimes we use those interchangeably. I'd say as a prenup lawyer and mediator, I find that I prefer to use premarital agreement, but any of them can be used. Myth number 2 that I usually hear is that having a prenup dooms your marriage. Most people will say to me, well, my future spouse would only ask for a prenup if he or she doesn't trust me and thinks that we're going to get divorced. Now, I would actually venture to say that not only is it the opposite, but I'd also go as far to say that it actually protects marriages. For those people that are entering into a premarital agreement, especially if you do that through mediation, you're having difficult conversations before you get married, and that really makes it less likely that you're going to divorce down the road. The third myth that I often hear is that prenups are only for the wealthy. And I do think that in the past it may have been common for prenups only to be used in situations where clients were wealthy, and oftentimes even where the family was requiring them to have a prenup before they got married. It's really changing. And, with that is the fact that, one, just because your situation is one way now, doesn't mean that it's going to be the same way during the marriage or down the road. And you may want to protect certain assets or debts that you acquire during the marriage. Additionally, especially if you're doing premarital mediation like we do, we find that premarital agreements are not just about protecting, the wealthy, but it's about having those important conversations. 4, I hear all the time, prenups are expensive. And while, you certainly want to work with a prenup lawyer and mediator that, knows what they're doing and does them often, there are definitely cost-efficient ways to do that. One, if you work with someone like us at West Coast Family Mediation Center who does flat fees, then you know what that cost is going to be up front. Additionally, by doing mediation, you work together and save a lot of the back and forth and negotiations. And then lastly, the common myth I hear is just that prenups are usually unfair. And while there can be situations where that occurs, that is not the majority of the time. Again, I think that you doing premarital mediation makes it less likely to be unfair because it's something that you and your future spouse do together. If you have any questions about premarital agreements, prenups, prenuptial agreements, we'd be happy to talk with you.